Welcome to the Ron Stokes Buckeye Weekly Update, brought to you by WOW Internet, Phone, and Cable.
Hi, this is Ron Stokes with Buckeye Fast Break, sponsored by WOW Internet, Phone, and Cable. And I'm in my hotel room. We had a quick flight from Columbus, Ohio tonight to West Lafayette. The Buckeyes will face Purdue tomorrow. And I have a couple of things I want to go over with you tonight. First, I have a question from Nick from the West Side, and it's talking about the Buckeyes' zone defense. And in part two, my references will be about Evan Turner, Ohio State's game against Purdue tomorrow, and the Buckeyes' chances of getting into the NCAA tournament. First, a question from Nick. It's about Coach Matta and the fact that Ohio State continues to play zone to zone while he feels that Coach Matta should play some man-to-man defense. Now, I'm going to list some of the points that Nick has listed here in the email that he sent me. But I want to say this about Nick. I read the little information about him. He's been a Buckeye fan since his birth. He's an Ohio State graduate back in 2007. So he is definitely a big-time Buckeye fan. And he has some really good points, and I wanted to answer that question by first saying that I've asked that very same question I have posed that question to Coach Matta a number of times on his coach's show, in between the breaks, on the plane, after games, and I get the same answer. And that answer is he feels that the zone defense is the best defense that he feels his team could play to put them in the very best position to win. And I believe that. If you go back and look at his history as a coach, in each of his years, he's won or led his team to at least 20 wins or more. He's taken the team to a NCAA championship game and an Elite Eight appearance and a number of NCAA tournaments. So he's very qualified. But a few things. If you go back 3 years ago, I believe it's three, when Ohio State had Ron Lewis as a junior, they were on the road at Iowa State, and I referenced this on a previous blog of mine. But at that year, they were playing predominantly man-to-man. At halftime, the coaching staff, they huddled, and they came out of that little brief meeting with the feeling that the zone defense would be the best option for Ohio State in the second half. They played the zone defense. It definitely changed the game, and he tried it, and he went back to man the next game. But my point is, he's not unwilling to change if he feels that it can help his team to win. And he's starting to play a little bit more man-to-man principles, especially on inbounds plays. And we even saw a little bit of late in the game against Penn State. Now, the other point that I want to make is that a few years ago when Greg Oden was here as a freshman, they played man-to-man the entire year for the most part. Until later in the year, they played some zone. And the reason why he did that is that when you have a dominant center like Greg Oden, teams will run a lot of high pick and rolls at the top of the key to get a person like Greg Oden away from the basket, so he's not back there blocking shots, getting rebounds, but also you put him in a position where he has to guard the 1 and the 2 spot by hedging out and defending that screen. So and he can get in foul trouble. So that's why you counter that by playing some zone, and Coach Matta did that. So again, Nick, I think there's great points. But if you go and look at some of the comments by other coaches that's had to face Ohio State, they will tell you that zone can be very difficult. When you have the length that Ohio State has with Evan Turner, William Buford, John Diebler, Dallas Lauderdale, and also B.J. Mullins, it can be a tough zone. The question is, will Ohio State play it the way that it's drawn out? Will they give the effort for the entire 40 minutes? And if they do that, they have a legitimate chance of winning a lot of basketball games. I know the season's towards the end, but there's still a lot of basketball to be played. But Nick, I hope that answers your question. Please visit back again, and thanks for being a Buckeye fan. I'll be back in a moment with part two.
How does a WOW internet cable and phone bundle make your life easier? We'll show you in metaphor. One price, one bill, one great experience. Get a WOW bundle with internet cable and phone with unlimited nationwide calling and calls to Canada. All for only $99.99. Price guaranteed until 2011. Next time, we'll discuss internet speed using interpretive dance. WOW. It's that kind of experience.
Hi, this is Ron Stokes, and I'm back for part 2. First and foremost, let me talk about Evan Turner. I think he is having a phenomenal year. When you look at where he was last year at this time compared to this year, night and day. He is clearly a first-team Big Ten performer. And in fact, if Ohio State was in first or second place, maybe third, he would get strong consideration to being the player of the year. But one of the things that I saw in the last basketball game against Penn State that definitely qualifies in putting Evan Turner in that first team category is the fact that when you see teams changing their entire defensive strategy to stop a team for one player, that tells you that that player is pretty special. If you look at the game, Ed DeChellis, the head coach for Penn State, time and time again sent guard after guard, forward after forward to double team Evan Turner to get the ball out of his hands. Now, that strategy did not work because first, Evan Turner is a very good passer, and number two, his teammates stepped up, in particular the 2 point guards. P.J. Hill started the basketball game, double figures, career high in back-to-back games and points. And also Jeremy Simmons, 14 points, first time all season that he led the team in scoring. And what they did, they had open shots because of the double teams that was placed on Evan Turner. But Evan Turner showed his ability to pass the ball and get it to them and his belief in them. And as a result, they had a very productive game from the outside. Now, as it relates to the game tomorrow against Purdue, I believe that Purdue will be a different team, namely because Robbie Hummel, preseason Big Ten Player of the Year, who was out when they played against Ohio State in Columbus because of his back issues, he is in the lineup. He is expected to play. In fact, in the last game against Michigan, in which they lost, he had over 20 points in that ball game. So he's back. He's not 100%, but an 80 or 90% Robbie Hummel, any coach would take that. I think, and Purdue may not say this, but I believe that they have a little bit of revenge in the back of their mind. They felt that when they came into Columbus to take Ohio State to overtime on their home court without their star player, they walked away feeling they should have won that basketball game. Being at home, the type of defense they play, they're going to be very physical, and the backcourt of Ohio State will need to duplicate some of what they did in Columbus against Penn State. It's not going to be easy, but they're going to need to do that to help Ohio State to win the basketball game. Now, as regarding the chance of getting in the NCAA, last year Buckeyes won 19 games overall, 10-8 in the conference, and did not get in. I think this year will be different. I believe they need to win 2 out of their last 3 games, and if they do that, they'll be 10-8 in the conference. They have 20 wins overall, but you throw in the fact that they beat Miami at Miami while they were ranked. They beat Notre Dame at a neutral site when Notre Dame was ranked. And of course, they beat Butler in Columbus, Ohio. Butler is a top 25 team. You throw in, in addition to that, they beat Michigan while they were ranked. And they also beat a Purdue team. So I think with that, all that being said, they are definitely an NCAA caliber team. And they will get a bid in if they do not go on to win the Big Ten conference tournament. So those are my thoughts. I haven't talked to you in a while. Been very busy this last week, but I'm going to try to get caught up. So thanks again for visiting Buckeye Fast Break, sponsored by WOW Internet Phone and Cable, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for visiting the Ron Stokes Buckeye Weekly Update, brought to you by WOW Internet Phone and Cable.